Hi, hello. How is everybody doing? I just realized I can move the chat to like my main monitor. I don't need to have it on the second monitor, which is all itty bitty and tiny. Hello, stylish fail and Nerdarin, Ali himself. How are y'all doing today? Um, I've had a hell of a fucking week. As per usual, I know, like what else is new? But yeah, no, just like when you go through periods of your life where like you feel like a lot of stuff is like rapidly changing. Like yeah, that's been the last 2 months, so I should be used to it by now. Good, headed home from work. Ooh. Wait, we've talked about this before, but I completely forgot. What do you do for work again? Was it what did it have something to do with copywriting or did I misremember that? But yeah, basically I'm dealing with a really interesting shift recently, to where I don't really want to play video games with like the same unstoppable intensity that I have had for most of my life. So, associate editor. Ooh, hell yeah. Oh, right, we talked about the fact that that's a job that's like, related to writing and like that's really cool because you have like your foot in the door and like you can, do a job that gives you like industry experience. Journey was fine, but the situation with the woman in England is complicated. Ooh, gotcha. Yeah, that sounds kind of stressful. Well, I'm sorry that that was the case. Um, but yeah, so just like I've been doing more art stuff. Uh, if you saw the pictures in the Discord, I modeled yesterday. I got roped into like a quinceañera photo shoot to spread awareness for mental health, which as somebody, autistic healing from PTSD, is fucking hilarious. Because like I just went there with another person who was actually supposed to model that day, and someone else didn't make it, and they're just like, "You look like you have the right measurements. Just come over here and like we'll fit you and like put makeup on you." And I'm just like, "What the fuck is happening? I've never modeled in my life," but I looked hot, so no regrets. I did look very straight though. That is like the straightest you will ever fucking see me. So feast your eyes and don't expect any more of that. Oh, we are still very good, even better. Oh, hell yeah. Well, that's good. It's always nice when relationships improve. But she is not ready for something more romantic. Oh, gotcha. Well, that sucks because yeah, romance is a whole trip, homie. Like the butterflies and the jitters, like the stuff in your stomach. But like, mm, I'm glad that y'all were able to like talk it out and like you know parts, but remaining friends. Like that's cool. Art stuff and creative stuff is great. Oh, the modeling sounds like a great time. Yes, and this morning I went to my first art class. I painted something, which for me is a huge fucking deal because I've always been terrified of visual arts because like I keep trying and I keep feeling like I hate everything that I make, but like nah, I really like what I painted today, and like yes, a cute shroom. Jenny, hi. How are you doing? My favorite kind of shroom. Ah, stop it, you flatterer. Ahoy, shake my spear. Hello, welcome. Okay, so like a lot of people want to be read to. This is an experiment, but like okay, as I was saying, I'm not feeling in like a gaming mood, and I was like, oh no, I'm gonna let everybody down. I'm gonna be such a disappointment. And then I'm like, wait, that's a trauma response. Like, I have free will. I can do whatever the fuck I want. Like, yeah, so we're gonna do something different today. Oh, hello. Okay, so let me put on something more comfy. A walker, a psychopath. Ba-da. Okay. Start with. I don't know, these are all bangers. I like this song a lot. Okay. Yeah. My instrumental playlist is like pretty much 90% what Jenny has been sending me. Because Jenny listens to way too much fucking music, and yeah, it saves me a lot of time. So thank you. Shout out to Two Thirds Left. Do what you want. Yeah, exactly. Because like I was thinking, like I'm at the beginning of my streaming career, and I know I've said this before, but I am kind of dumb. Like I am both intelligent and dumb at the same time. So I have to like remind myself, like it's okay, just do whatever. Oh, what a banger. Yes. Okay, chat, help me. If someone says they consider your meetups a date, how would you interpret that? I am too autistic for that. If someone says something ambiguous, I just confront them. Like, what do you mean by that? Or like, is it a platonic date or a romantic date? Because you can take your friends on dates. Like, why the fuck not? I take my friends out for like ice cream and dinner, whatever, like coffee. Like, I don't know why the fuck I wouldn't do that, you know? Um, oh, we did. Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, just question, ask questions, and they will either be endeared by the fact that you want to know more about them, or they'll be annoyed by your need for healthy communication. And it's better to know that early, you know? We discussed it. We are both autistic as shit. Fuck yes. I love that. Spice brain to spice brain communication. Okay, so I have seen other reading streams, and they were very much like 100% focused on the book. I don't think I'm gonna do that. I think I'm just gonna like read, um, and talk about what we're reading. So, because I know myself. I don't shut the fuck up. I can't shut the fuck up like in a fucking Discord call. Like, mm. And there's no one here to talk over me and pressure me into being quiet. So like, okay. Anyway, the book is called Dragon Rider by Cornelia Funke, Funke. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. But yeah, let's read the description first. A boy, a dragon, a quest. Fire Drake, Ben, and their furry friend, Sorrel, are in search of the mythical place where dragons can live in peace forever. Together they embark on a journey that takes them to magical lands where they meet marvelous creatures and one ruthless villain. Okay, it's already given Peter Pan. Along the way, they will discover allies in odd places, courage they didn't know they had, and a hidden destiny that changes everything. Oh, shit, sorry. Why did it hold that message? You're allowed to say autistic. Like, what? Oh, dang, I got auto-moded again. It's always you getting in trouble, Stylish Veil. Like, what a bad bitch. Okay, anyway. Artist to artist communication is the best. The betrayal. Wait. I kind of got lost. What do you mean the betrayal? The betrayal of what? Okay, so let's begin. Chapter 1. Bad news. All was still in the Valley of the Dragons. Mist had drifted in from the sea nearby and was clinging to the mountains. Birds twittered uncertainly in the foggy damp, and clouds hid the sun. A rat came scuttling down the slope, fell head over heels, tumbled down the moss-covered rocks, and picked herself up again. "Didn't I say so?" she muttered crossly to herself. "Didn't I tell them?" Snuffling, she raised her pointy nose, listened, and headed toward a group of crooked fir trees at the foot of the highest mountain. "I knew before winter," murmured the rat. "Oh, yes, I knew before winter. I could smell it coming. But they wouldn't believe me. No, not them. They feel safe here. Safe! Ha! Really?" It was so dark under the fir trees that you could scarcely see the gaping crevice in the mountainside that swallowed up the mist. "They don't know anything," the rat continued peevishly. "That's their problem. They know absolutely nothing about the world, not the least little thing." She glanced warily around again and then disappeared into the crevice in the rock. There was a large cave behind it. The rat scurried in, but she didn't get far. Someone grabbed her tail and lifted her up in the air. "Hi, rat. What are you doing here?" Nurturing Emmy got betrayed. Oh, Autumn. Okay. Oh, how is the book coming along? Oh, the book? The book is going very well. I'm like halfway through, 60%. I don't know. I have like 50 pages. I don't fucking remember. I have a lot of pages. I think I'm done with the writing of the poems. I just have to like put them all in the book and yassify them more than I've ever yassified poems before. Honestly, it's very aesthetic. It's kind of extra though, because like, I don't know, but like, okay. I feel like it's good. Like, I like it. Inky Rat Voice goes hard. Oh, Thank you. I'll do my best. I hope I don't lose it because like I tend to like forget the voices I do when I voice act, but we'll see. Okay. The rat snapped at the furry fingers that were holding her tight, but all she caught was a mouthful of brownie hairs, which she furiously spat out. Sorrel, she hissed. Let go of me this instant, you brainless mushroom muncher! Hey, why does that sound like an insult? I don't have time for your silly brownie tricks. You don't have time? Sorrel placed Rat on the flat of her furry paw. She was still a young brownie, no bigger than a human oh my god. Ah, thank you for the subscription! Stylish Veil! Thank you. We love the support. Like one baddie supporting another. Yes. Okay. She was still a young brownie, no bigger than a human child, with a spotted sulphur yellow coat and bright cat-like eyes. How come, Rat? What's the big hurry? Need a dragon to protect you from hungry cats, or what? This has nothing to do with cats, hissed Rat angrily. She didn't care for brownies herself, although all the dragons loved them and their furry faces. When the dragons couldn't sleep, they would listen to the strange little songs the brownies sang, and when they felt sad, no one could cheer them up as well as those sharp-tongued brownie layabouts. I've got bad news if you want to know. Extremely bad news, grumbled Rat. But I'm not telling anyone except Fire Drake. Certainly not you. Bad news? Oh, festering fungus, what sort of bad news? Sorrel scratched her stomach. Put me down, snarled Rat. If you say so. Sorrel sighed and let Rat hop down to the stony floor of the cave. But he's still asleep. Then I'm waking him up, spat the Rat, making her way farther into the cave, where a fire burned blue, keeping the darkness and damp away from the heart of the mountain. Beside its flames, the dragon lay asleep, curled up with his head on his paws. His long tail with its spiny crest was coiled around the warmth of the fire. The flames brought a glow to his scales and cast his shadow on the cave wall. Rat scurried up to the dragon, climbed on his paw, and tugged his ear. Fire Drake! She shouted. Fire Drake, wake up! They're coming! Sleepily, the dragon raised his head and opened his eyes. Oh, it's you, is it, Rat? He murmured in a rather hoarse voice. Has the sun set already, then? No, but you must get up all the same. You have to wake the others. Rat jumped off Fire Drake's paw and scuttled up and down in front of him. I warned you. I really did. I warned the whole bunch of you, but you wouldn't listen. Oh, no. What's she talking about? The dragon cast an inquiring glance at Sorrel, who was now sitting by the fire, nibbling a root. No idea, said Sorrel, munching. She just keeps jabbering on. Well, there's not much room for sense in a little head like hers. Oh, really? Rat gasped indignantly. Honestly, I ask you, Take no notice, Rat. Fire Drake rose, stretched his long neck, and shook himself. She's in a bad temper because the mist makes her fur damp. Pull the other one! Rat threw Sorrel a venomous glance. Brownies are always bad-tempered. I've been up since sunrise, running my paws off to warn you, and what thanks do I get? Her grey coat was bristling with anger. I have to listen to her silly, fur-brained fancies. Warn us of what? Sorrel threw the nibbled remnants of her root at the wall of the cave. Oh, putrid puffballs! Stop winding us all up like this, or I'll tie a knot in your tail. Quiet, Sorrel. Fire Drake brought his claw down angrily on the fire. Blue sparks flew into the brownie girl's fur, where they went out like tiny shooting stars. All right, she muttered. But the way that Rat carries on is enough to drive anyone crazy. Oh, really? Then you just listen to me. Rat drew herself up to her full height, planted her paws on her hips, and bared her teeth. Humans are coming, she squeaked, so shrilly that her voice echoed all around the cave. Human beings are coming. You know what that means, you leaf-burrowing, mushroom-munching, shaggy-haired brownie. Humans are coming. Coming here. Suddenly, all was deathly quiet. Sorrel and Firedrake looked at each other as if they had been turned to stone, but Rat was still trembling with rage. Her whiskers were all a-quiver, and her tail twitched back and forth on the cave floor. Firedrake was the first to move. "Humans?" he asked, bending his neck and holding out his paw to Rat. Looking offended, she scrambled onto it. Firedrake raised her to his eye level. "Are you sure?" he asked. "Perfectly sure," replied the rat. Firedrake bowed his head. "It was bound to happen some day," he said quietly. "They're all over the place these days. I think there are more and more of them all the time." Sorrel was still looking stunned. Suddenly, she jumped up and spat into the fire. "But that's impossible!" she cried. "There's nothing here they'd want. Nothing at all." "That's what you think." "Oh, that's what you think!" The rat bent over so far that she almost fell off Firedrake's paw. "Don't talk such nonsense. You've mingled with humans, right? There's nothing they don't fancy, nothing they don't want. Forgotten that already, have you?" Okay, muttered Sorrel. "You're right. They're greedy. They want everything for themselves." "They do indeed," the rat nodded. "And I tell you, they're coming here." The dragon fire flared up, and then the flames burned low until the darkness, like some black animal, swallowed them. Only one thing could extinguish Firedrake's fiery breath so fast, and that was sorrow. But the dragon blew gently on the rocky ground, and flames flickered up once more. "This is bad news indeed, Rat," said Firedrake. He let Rat jump up onto his shoulder, and then went slowly toward the mouth of the cave. "Come on, Sorrel," he said. "We must wake the others." "And won't they just be pleased," growled Sorrel, smoothing down her ruffled fur and following Firedrake out into the mist. Alright, that was chapter 1. Firedrake. I love them. Yes, they're so chill, homie. Like, okay. Honestly, I read this book like forever ago. I was probably like 13. But I forgot the plot entirely, so I'm like, why the fuck not? Like, I'm getting back into reading. Might as well get back into reading with like the stuff that I have the best memories about, you know? So yeah. Anyway, I'm having fun, so I'm probably gonna keep going. I feel like I read it as a kid too. Really? Oh, that'd be so cool. I wonder how popular, like, I don't know, specific children's books became. Because, like, my dad brought me a bunch from his trips, because I grew up in Argentina. Yeah. But since I speak the English, he would bring me, like, fantasy books and stuff. I used to have a massive collection, but a lot of it has been given away. Which is fine. Once I move, I'm gonna rebuild the collection stronger than ever. Yeah, read stuff you like. Thank you. I will, but I like being affirmed. I've never heard of this, but I like it. Hell yeah. Well, it's Dragon Rider by Cornelia Funk or Funke. I wonder if they make Funky Town jokes with her name. I'm almost out of tea. I should grab my water, but my backpack is all the way over there. Okay, fine. I'll grab it in a second. Okay. Chapter 2. A Meeting in the Rain. Slatebeard, the oldest dragon in the valley, had seen more than his memory could hold. His scales no longer glowed, but he could still breathe fire, and whenever the younger dragons were at a loss, they would come to ask his advice. Once all the other dragons had assembled outside Slatebeard's cave, Firedrake woke him. The sun had set. A black and starless sky lay over the valley, and it was still raining. Oh, I shall return when I get home. See y'all, friends. I see you later, Allie. Thank you for popping in. Have a good day. When the old dragon emerged from his cave, he looked gloomily up at the sky. His bones ached from the damp, and the cold weather made his joints stiff. The others respectfully made way for him. Slatebeard looked round. None of the dragons were missing, but Sorrel was the only brownie present. The old dragon moved through the wet grass with heavy steps and dragging tail, toward a rock that rose in the valley like a giant's head covered with moss. Breathing hard, he climbed up on it and looked around. The other dragons gazed up at him like frightened children. Some of them were still very young and knew nothing but this valley. Others had come with Slatebeard himself from far, far away, and remembered that the world had not always belonged to humankind. They all smelled misfortune, and they hoped he would deal with it. But Slatebeard was old and tired now.
"Come up here, rat,"
he said in a hoarse voice. I don't know how to make what is a hoarse voice? Like, what does that fucking mean? Because it's not spelled horses and nay, like nay or whatever, but like, anyway.
"Come up here, rat," he said in a hoarse voice. "Tell us what you saw and heard."
The rat scampered nimbly up the rock, climbed Slatebeard's tail, and crouched on his back. It was so quiet under the dark sky that only the sound of the rain falling and the rustle of foxes out hunting by night could be heard. Rat cleared her throat. "Humans are coming!" she cried. "They've woken their machines and fed them and sent them on their way. They're already eating a path through the mountains only 2 days' journey from here. The fairies will hold them at bay for a while, but they'll get here some time or other, because it's this valley of yours they're heading toward." A groan ran through the ranks of the dragons. They raised their heads and pressed closer around the rock where Slatebeard stood. Firedrake was a little way away from the others, with Sorrel perched on his back, nibbling a dried mushroom. "Oh, terrific, rat," she muttered. "Couldn't you have put it a little more tactfully?"
"What does that mean?"
one of the dragons called out.
"Why would they want to come here? Surely they have all that they want where they are."
"Humans never have all they want," replied Rat.
"Let's hide away until they go away again," suggested another dragon. "The way we've always done when one of them loses his way and turns up here. They're so blind they only see what they expect to see. They'll think we're odd-looking rocks, same as usual, or dead trees."
But the rat shook her head. "Look here," she shrilled. "If I've told you once, I've told you 100 times. Those humans are making plans. But big animals don't listen to little animals, right?" She looked around her crossly. "You hide from human beings, but you aren't interested in what they're up to. Rats aren't so stupid. We go into their houses. We eavesdrop on them. We know what they're planning for your valley." Rat cleared her throat again and stroked her grey whiskers. "Here she goes again, winding up the suspense," Sorrel whispered into Firedrake's ear, but the dragon ignored her. Like, you have smoked 20 packs a day for 60 years, or you have a throat ache and get croaky, either or. How do you induce that, though? Like, how do I make myself do the hoarse voice? Like, like that, because that kind of hurts a little bit. And I'm taking very good care of my throat because I'm getting music lessons from my friend Lorenzo. Oh shit, I didn't post the video to the Discord. I'm gonna forget to do that, so I'm gonna put that down on a sticky note right now. Where are my sticky notes? You know, sticky notes aren't that effective if you forget where you put the sticky notes. Okay, hang on. I'll just write it on this one. Post Aurora video. I'm really proud of it. Because yeah, apparently it's like technically a very difficult song to sing, like vocally. I have no fucking clue. I'm just learning about music now, so like, yeah, yeah. I'm really happy with it. How did that come up again? Okay, either way, we're gonna keep going. Oh, okay, wait. Slatebeard. Was Slatebeard the big guy? Yeah, it's the big guy. Okay.
Here she goes again.
Oh, no, never mind.
What are they planning then, Rat?
Asked Slatebeard warily.
Come on, tell us.
Rat fiddled nervously with a whisker. It was no fun bringing bad news. They're going to flood the valley, she replied, her voice faltering. Soon there'll be nothing here but water. Your caves will be flooded, and none of the tall trees over there, she said, pointing one paw at the darkness, none of them will be left. Not even the treetops will show above the water. The dragon stared at her, speechless.
But that's impossible, one of them exclaimed at last. No one can do a thing like that, not even us. And we're bigger and stronger than they are.
Impossible, Rat laughed sarcastically. Bigger, stronger. You don't get it at all. You tell them, Sorrel. Tell them what human beings are like. Maybe they'll believe you. With an injured expression, she wrinkled her sharp nose. The dragons turned to Firedrake and Sorrel. Rat's right, said the brownie. You've no idea. You've no idea. She spat on the ground and picked at a piece of... is that still Sorrel talking? Yeah, okay, sorry. Rat's right, said the brownie. You've no idea. She spat on the ground and picked at a piece of moss stuck between her teeth. Human beings don't go around in suits of armor these days like they used to when they hunted you dragons, but they're still dangerous. More dangerous than anything else in the world.
Oh, nonsense, said a large, stout dragon scornfully, and turned his back on Sorrel. Let the two legs come. Rats and brownies may be right to fear them, but we are dragons. What can they do to us?
What can they do to you? Sorrel threw her nibbled mushroom away and sat up very straight. She was angry now, and an angry brownie is not to be trifled with. You never set foot outside this valley, dimwit, she said. I expect you think human beings sleep on leaves like you. I expect you think they do no more than no more harm than a fly because they don't live much longer than one. I expect you think they've got nothing in their heads but thoughts of eating and sleeping, but they aren't like that. Oh no, not these days. Sorrel was practically gasping for air. Those things that sometimes fly across the sky? Being so stupid you call them noisy birds. Those things are machines built by humans for travelling through the air. And human beings can talk to one another when they aren't even in the same country. They can conjure up moving, talking pictures, and they have cups made of ice that never melts. And their houses shine at night as if they've trapped the sunlight. And Sorrel shook her head. And they can do wonderful things. Terrible things, too. If they want to flood this valley with water, then they will. You'll have to leave whether you like it or not. The dragons stared at her, even the one who had just turned his back. Some of them looked up at the mountains as if they expected machines to come crawling over the black peaks at any moment. Oh, drat it, muttered Sorrel. Now he's gone and made me so cross I threw my delicious mushroom away. It was an oyster mushroom, too. Oh, me no. Those one taste like sausages. That's a tragedy right there. You don't find those around here so often. In a thoroughly bad mood, she scrambled down off Firedrake's back and started searching the wet grass for her tidbit.
You heard, all of you, said Slatebeard. We have to leave.
Uncertainly, their legs heavy with fear, the dragons turned to him again.
For some of you, the old dragon continued, it will be the first time. But many of us had to flee from human beings before, although now it will be extremely difficult to find a place that doesn't belong to them.
Slatebeard shook his head sadly.
It seems to me there are more and more humans with every new moon.
Yes, they're all over the place, said the dragon who had been mocking Sorrel a moment ago. I'll be honest with you, I can't fucking remember what voice I gave him, so like we're just gonna keep going. It's only when I fly over the sea that I don't see their lights beneath me.
Then we must try living in harmony with them,
suggested another dragon. But Slatebeard shook his head.
No, he said. No one can live in harmony with human beings.
Oh, yes, they can. Rat stroked her wet coat. Dogs and cats do, and mice and birds, even us rats. But you, she said, letting her gaze roam over the dragons, you're too big, too clever, and, she added, shrugging her shoulders, too different. You'd frighten them, and when something frightens human beings, they
destroy it, the old dragon said warily. They almost wiped us out once before, many, many 100 years ago.
He raised his heavy head and looked at the younger dragons one by one.
I'd hoped they would at least leave us this valley. It was a foolish hope.
But where are we to go? Cried one of the dragons in despair. This is our home. Slatebeard did not reply. He looked up at the night sky, where the stars were still hidden behind clouds, and sighed. Then he said, Gomen, I need the tea. Okay, that's better. He looked up at the night sky, where the stars were still hidden behind clouds, and sighed. Then he said huskily,
Go back to the rim of heaven. We have to stop running away sometime. I'm too old. I shall crawl into my cave and hide. But you younger ones can make it.
The young dragons looked at him in surprise. The rest of them, however, raised their heads and looked eastward, their eyes full of longing.
The rim of heaven.
Slatebeard closed his eyelids.
Its mountains are so tall that they touch the sky. Moonstone caves lie hidden among its slopes, and the floor of the valley in the middle of the mountains is covered with blue flowers. When you were children, we told you stories about the rim of heaven. You may have thought they were fairy tales, but some of us have actually been there.
He opened his eyes again.
I was born there, so long ago that eternities lie between that memory and me. I was younger than most of you are now when I flew away, tempted by the wide sky. I flew westward, on and on. I have never dared to fly in the sunlight since. I had to hide from humans who thought I was a bird of the devil. I tried to go back to the rim, but I could never find the way.
The old dragon looked at his young companions.
Seek the rim of heaven. Go back to the security of its peaks, and then, perhaps, you will never have to flee from humans again. They aren't here yet, he said, nodding toward the dark mountain tops around the valley. But they will come soon. I have felt it for a long time. Don't linger. Fly. Fly away.
Oh, it's giving, fly, you fools. I'm like, Gandalf, Lord of the Rings. Okay. All was perfectly still again. Drizzling rain, as fine as dust, fell from the sky. Sorrel hunched her head. Sorrel hunched her head between her shoulders, shivering. "Oh, thanks a million," she whispered to Fire Drake. "The rim of heaven, eh? Sounds too good to be true. If you ask me, the old boy dreamed it up." Fire Drake did not reply, but looked up at Slatebeard thoughtfully. Then he suddenly stepped forward. "Hey!" whispered Sorrel in alarm. "What's the idea? Don't do anything silly." But Fire Drake took no notice. Oh shit, what voice did I use for Fire Drake? Okay. But Fire Drake took no notice.
"You're right, Slatebeard," he said. "In any case, I'm tired of living in hiding, never flying outside this valley."
He turned to the others.
"Let us look for the rim of heaven. Come on, let's set out today. The moon is waxing. There'll be no better night for us."
The others shuddered as if he had taken leave of his senses, but Slatebeard smiled for the first time that night.
"You're still rather young, Fire Drake,"
he pointed out.
"I'm old enough,"
replied Fire Drake, raising his head a little higher. He was not much smaller than the old dragon, but his horns were shorter, and his scales shone in the moonlight. "Here, hang on, wait a mo." Sorrel scrambled hastily up Fire Drake's neck. "What's all this nonsense? You may have flown beyond those hills all of 10 times, but," she said, spreading out her arms and pointing to the mountains around them, "but you've no idea what lies farther off. You can't just fly away through the human world looking for a place that may not even exist." "Be quiet, Sorrel," said Fire Drake crossly. "Won't," spat the brownie girl. "See the others? Do they look as if they want to fly away? No, so forget it. If human beings really come, I'm sure I can find us a nice new cave."
"Yes, listen to her," said one of the other dragons, moving closer to Fire Drake. "There's no such place as the rim of heaven except in Slatebeard's dreams. The world belongs to humans. If we hide here, they may leave us in peace. And if they really do come to our valley, well, we'll just have to chase them away."
At this, Rat laughed. Her laughter was shrill and loud. "Ever tried turning back the tide?" she asked. But the dragon who had spoken did not answer her.
"Come on,"
he told the others, and he turned and went back through the pouring rain to his cave. They followed him one by one until only Fire Drake and the old dragon were left. Slatebeard, his legs stiff, climbed down from the rock and looked at Fire Drake.
"I can see why they think the rim of heaven is only a dream," he said. "There's many a day when it seems like a dream to me too."
Fire Drake shook his head. "I'll find it," he said, and looked around. "Even if Rat is wrong and the human beings stay where they are, there must be some place where we won't have to hide. And when I have found it, I'll come back and fetch the rest of you. I'll set out tonight." The old dragon nodded.
"Come to my cave before you leave," he said. "I will tell you all I can remember, even though it isn't much. But now I must get in out of the rain, or I won't be able to move my old bones at all tomorrow." With difficulty, Slatebeard trudged back to his cave. Fire Drake stayed behind with Sorrel and Rat. The brownie girl was perched at his back, on his back, looking fierce. "You idiot," she said quietly. "Acting the big hero, right? Off to look for something that doesn't exist. I ask you." I'm very confused about, like, the use of "I ask you" in this context. Like, what? "What are you muttering about?" asked Fire Drake, turning his head to look at her. This was too much for Sorrel. She lost her temper. "And who's going to wake you when the sun sets?" she demanded. "Who's going to protect you from human beings? Who's going to sing you to sleep and scratch you behind the ears?" "Yes,
Who? Asked Rat sharply. She was still sitting on the rock where the old dragon had stood. Me, of course, Sorrel spat at her. Tedious toadstools. What else can I do? Oh, no, you don't. Firedrake turned so abruptly that Sorrel almost slipped off his wet back. You can't come. And just why not? Sorrel folded her arms, looking offended. Because it's dangerous. I don't care. But you hate flying. It makes you airsick. I'll get used to it. You'll be homesick, too. Homesick for what? You think I'm going to wait here till the fish come and nibble my toes? No, I'm going with you. Firedrake sighed. No, very well, he murmured. You can come, but don't blame me afterward for taking you along. She will, said Rat, chuckling as she jumped off the rock into the damp grass. I got my pronunciation, homies. Brownies are never happy without something to complain about. Well, now, let's go and see the old dragon. If you're going to start tonight, there's no time to waste. Certainly not enough time to finish your quarrel with this dim-witted mushroom muncher. Again, why does that sound like such a slur? Okay, my Pratchett thing for the day. He wrote 3 children's books about gnomes who have to leave their home in a toy shop and adventure through the human world in search of a new home. The Bromeliad. Ooh. Actually, that sounds really good. Hang on, I'm gonna grab my water bottle. I feel like, what was his name? Silvervine? No, that's like a drug for cats. Slatebeard. His voice kind of fucked me up a little bit. I didn't know he was gonna talk so much. It's fun though. Like, I like doing stuff like this because it helps me stretch out my register. And like, yeah, I do want to do like some voice acting stuff long term, and this is like practice for that. Where the fuck is my water bottle? If it's not in my backpack, I don't know where to look. Could I have left it in the car? Okay, hang on. Give me like 30 seconds to check the entryway of my house. Hi, I have returned. Okay, so that was chapter 2. I didn't find my water bottle, but I found a bottle of water. You know, we improvise, we adjust, we adapt, we overcome. Okay. How are y'all enjoying the reading stream, by the way? How are the vibes? Are they cozy? I feel very cozy. But yeah. No, that sounds fucking amazing, and like I'm definitely adding that to my list. Is that allowed? Can I just like start reading kids books instead of reading like, you know, adult books or like whatever the fuck that is? TBR. Where is my TBR? Here we go. The Bromeliads. And I'll put Stylish Fail down here. I've become a lot more selective with like what media I consume. Since I started like putting like who's recommending what in my watch list and stuff. It's basically like if it's someone I talk to often, then I'll probably like watch that next. Reading is cozy. I'm glad you're having a cozy time, Jeannie. Good vibes. I'm winding down for the day, so can I send you a book? I mean, yes, please. I like receiving presents, and like books are like fucking amazing. Okay. We'll do one more, and then we'll see how I feel, and maybe we'll keep going. We shall see. I'm having fun though, but like I don't want to tire out my voice. I'm going to practice the self-care and like all the things. I'm being more responsible now. Okay. This is called Chapter 3. Advice and Warnings. Oh god, not again. Slatebeard was lying at the mouth of his cave, listening to the rain when they arrived.
You haven't changed your mind? He asked when Fire Drake lay down beside him on the rocky ground. The young dragon shook his head. But I won't be alone. Sorrel's coming with me. Well, well. The old dragon looked at Sorrel. Good. She may come in useful. She knows human beings, she has a quick mind, and brownies are more suspicious by nature than dragons, which won't be any bad thing on this journey of yours. Her big appetite could be a problem, but no doubt she'll soon get used to eating less. Sorrel looked anxiously down at her stomach. Listen then. I'm going to be a little softer on his voice because I don't want to fuck up my throat. Listen then, Slatebeard began again. I don't really remember very much. These days the pictures get more and more muddled in the mind, but I do know this. You must fly to the highest mountain range in the whole world. It lies far away in the east, and when you get there, you must find the rim of heaven. Look for a chain of snow-covered peaks circling a valley like a ring of stone. As for the blue flowers growing in the valley, he added, closing his eyes, their fragrance hangs so heavy in the cold night air that you can taste it. He sighed. Ah, my memories are faded now, as if they were lost in the mist. But it's a wonderful place. His head sank to his paws. He closed his eyes, and his breath came more slowly. There was something else, he murmured, about the eye of the moon, but I don't remember what. The eye of the moon? Sorrel leaned toward him. What's that? But Slatebeard only shook his head sleepily. I don't remember, he murmured. But beware, he said, his voice so soft that they could hardly hear it. Beware of the golden one. Then a snore emerged from his muzzle. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do. Well, I don't need to. I don't need to do shit. I want to learn how to do like sound effects and stuff. Like, how does one start doing that? Fire Drake straightened up, looking thoughtful. What did he mean by that? Asked Sorrel anxiously. Come on, we better wake him up again and ask him. But Fire Drake shook his head. Let him sleep. I don't think he can tell us any more than he's told us already. They left the cave quietly, and when Fire Drake looked up at the sky, the moon was visible for the first time that night. Oh, good, said Sorrel, holding her paw up in the air. At least it stopped raining. Suddenly, she clapped herself on the forehead. Oh, fearsome fungi! She swiftly slipped off Fire Drake's back. I must pack some provisions. How do we know there won't be mushroom shortages where we're going? Back in a moment, and don't you dare, she added menacingly, wagging a furry finger in Fire Drake's face. Don't you dare even think of starting without me. With that, she disappeared into the dark. She's way more sassy than I initially thought. I feel like I gave her like a much sweeter voice when we started this. Now, listen, Fire Drake, said the rat anxiously. You really don't know much about what you're looking for. You're not used to navigating by the stars, and Sorrel's mind is usually so full of mushrooms that she could get north and south mixed up and confuse the moon with the evening star. No, it won't do. Rat stroked her whiskers and looked at the dragon. You need help. Believe you me. As it happens, a cousin of mine makes maps, very special maps. He may not know exactly where the rim of heaven is, but he can certainly tell you where to find the highest mountain range in the world. Stop off and see him on the way. I have to admit, visiting him isn't entirely without its risks, said the rat, wrinkling her brow. Because he lives in a big city, but I think you ought to chance it. If you set off soon, You can be there in 2 nights' time. City? The indistinct figure of Sorrel emerged from the mist. For goodness sake, must you scare me to death? Asked Rat. Yes, that's right. My cousin lives in a human city. When you've left the sea behind you, keep keep flying eastward inland, and you can't miss it. It's huge, 100 times larger than this valley, and full of bridges and tall buildings. My cousin lives in an old warehouse on the river. Does he look like you? Asked Sorrel, stuffing a few leaves into her mouth. She was carrying a bulging backpack, which she had brought back from one of her excursions into the world of human beings. Yes, of course he does. You rats all look the same. Grey, grey, and grey again.
Oh my god, the burn. Like, okay, Sorrel.
Grey is a very practical colour, spat the rat, unlike your silly spots. As it happens, however, my cousin is white. Snow White. He wishes he wasn't. Do stop squabbling, said Firedrake, looking up at the sky. The moon was now almost at its height, and if they were to set out that night, it was time to leave. Climb aboard, Sorrel, he said. Shall we take Rat, too, to give you someone to quarrel with? No, thanks. Rat took a couple of small steps backward in alarm. There's no call for that kind of thing. I'm perfectly happy to know the world at second hand. It's a lot safer. I never quarrel with anyone anyway, Sorrel mumbled, with her mouth full as she clambered up onto the dragon's back. Pointy-nosed persons are oversensitive. Firedrake spread his wings, and Sorrel hastily clutched one of the large spines on his crest. Look after yourself, Rat, said the dragon, bending his neck to nuzzle the little animal affectionately. It's going to be some while before I'll be back to keep you safe from wild cats. Then he stepped back, took off from the damp ground, and rose into the air, beating his wings powerfully. Oh no! groaned Sorrel, clinging on so tight that her furry fingers hurt. Firedrake rose higher and higher into the dark sky, and a cold wind whistled around the brownie girl's pointed ears. I'll never get used to this, she muttered. Not unless I start growing feathers. She peered down cautiously at the valley below. None of them, she grumbled. Not a single one has so much as put his neck out of his cave to say goodbye. They probably won't come out until they're up to their chins in water. Hey, Firedrake, she called to the dragon. I know a nice little spot over there beyond those hills. Why don't we stick around here instead? But Firedrake did not reply, and the black hills rose between him and the valley where he had been born. So far, I love it. Like, I'm really into this. Like, and that was chapter 3. Okay. Maybe we do one more? I don't know. I don't want to, like, stretch it, but, like, fuck it. We're gonna do one more. And then I'm probably gonna dip for dinner. I want to do this more often. I want to do, like, chill streams, whatever the brain wants to do. And that way I'll, like, experiment and, like, see what sticks and what feels sustainable. And, like, the gaming streams are not over. It's just this week I haven't really been feeling it. Okay. I'm gonna put some soda water in my teacup. Was that an ad for Whoopi Duck? I gotta look it up because that song has been stuck in my head for a year and I have not listened to the original. I love soda water. Dun, 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 dun. This song is so comfy. Okay. Chapter 4. A big city and a small human being. Oh, pestiferous parasols, grumbled Sorrel. If we don't find somewhere pretty quick, they'll catch us and put us in a zoo." "What's a zoo?" asked Fire Drake, raising his muzzle from the water. He had landed an hour ago in the big city, in the darkest part of it they could find, far from the streets that were full of noise and light, even now, when night had fallen. Ever since, he had been swimming from one dirty canal to the next, looking for a place to hide during the day. But hard as Sorrel strained her cat-like eyes and raised her sensitive nose to the wind, they couldn't find anywhere that was large enough for a dragon and didn't smell of human beings. Everything smelled of humans here, even the dark water and the garbage adrift in it. "You mean you don't know what a zoo is? Oh, I'll explain later," muttered Sorrel. "Although, come to think of it, they're more likely to stuff us. Bother, it's going to take me hours to wash this filth off your scales." Fire Drake was swimming like a silvery snake along the dirty canal, under bridges, past the grey walls of buildings. Sorrel kept glancing uneasily at the sky, but there was no sign yet of the treacherous sun. "There!" the brownie suddenly whispered, pointing to a tall building. The water of the canal lapped its windowless brick walls. "See that hatch? If you make yourself as thin as you can, you might fit through. Swim over there. I'll sniff around a bit." The dragon cautiously let himself drift toward the wall. A large loading hatch just above water level gaped open. Its decaying wooden door hung loose from the hinges. With one bound, Sorrel jumped off Fire Drake's back, got a handhold on the rough-cast wall, and put her head through the opening, snuffling. "Seems okay," she whispered. "There hasn't been a human being in here for years. Nothing but mouse droppings and spiders. Come on." In a flash, she had disappeared into the dark. Fire Drake hauled himself out of the water, shook his scaly body, and forced it through the hatch. He looked curiously around him at the structure, the work of human hands. He had never been inside a building before, and he didn't like it. Large wooden crates and rotting cardboard cartons were stacked by the damp walls. Sorrel sniffed everything with interest, but she couldn't pick up the scent of anything edible. Warily, Fire Drake dropped to the floor in front of the hatch and looked out. This was the first time he had made such a long flight. His wings ached, and the city was full of frightening sounds and smells. The dragon sighed. "What's the matter?" Sorrel sat down between his paws. "Oh, I see. Who's homesick now, then?" She opened her backpack, took out a handful of mushrooms, and held them under his nose. "Here, get a noseful of these. They'll drive the stink of this place out of your nostrils. I expect our friend the rat would like it just fine here, but you and I had better get out as soon as we can." She patted Fire Drake's dirty scales comfortingly. "Get some sleep now. I'll have a bit of a nap too, and then I'll be off to look for Rat's cousin." Fire Drake nodded, his eyes closed. When he heard Sorrel singing softly to herself, it was almost like being back in his cave. His tired limbs relaxed. Sleep was laying soft, soothing fingers on him, when Sorrel suddenly jumped up. "There's something in here," she hissed. Fire Drake raised his head and looked around. "Where?" he asked. "Behind those crates," whispered Sorrel. "You stay here." She crept toward a stack of crates that towered to the ceiling. Fire Drake pricked up his ears. Now he could hear it, too. A rustling, a scraping of feet. The dragon raised himself. "Come on out," said Sorrel. "Come out, whatever you are." For a moment, all was quiet. Very quiet. Except for the noises of the big city drifting in from outside. "Come on out," spat Sorrel again. "Or do I have to come and fetch you?" There was some rustling,
And then a human boy crawled out from among the crates. Sorrel retreated in alarm. When the boy rose to his feet, he was a good deal taller than she was. He stared incredulously at the brownie girl, and then he saw the dragon. Firedrake's scales still shone like silver in spite of the canal water, and in this small space he seemed enormous. Neck bent, he was gazing down at the boy in astonishment. The dragon had never seen a human being at close quarters before. From everything that Rat and Sorrel had told him, he had imagined them as looking different. Very different. "He doesn't smell of humans at all," Sorrel growled. She had recovered from her fright and was inspecting the boy suspiciously, although from a safe distance. "He stinks of mice," she added. "That's why I didn't smell him. Yes, that'll be it." The boy took no notice of her. He raised his hand, a bare hand with no fur growing on it, and pointed at Firedrake. Oh, split the difference. Do a choose your own adventure book. I kind of lost the plot. What did I say at that point? God damn it, I lost my spot. Okay. The boy took no notice of her. He raised his hand, a bare hand with no fur growing on it, and pointed at Firedrake. "It's a dragon," he whispered. "A real, live dragon." He gave Firedrake an uncertain smile. The dragon cautiously stretched out his long neck toward the boy and sniffed. Sorrel was right. He did smell of mouse droppings, but there was something else as well. A strange smell. The same smell that hung in the air outside. The smell of human beings. You were talking about choosing between reading and game. Oh, yeah. Right. Choose your own adventure books exist. I forget that that's like actually a thing. I've never read one. They sound like fun. How does one go about like getting one? Because like I was thinking about getting one for my e-reader, but like that sounds like logistically kind of a pain to read. You know, I'm like switching back and forth. Maybe I should just get used to the goddamn e-reader. Okay. I like physical books though. Okay. "Of course it's a dragon," said Sorrel crossly. "And what are you?" The boy turned to look at her in surprise. "Oh, wow!" he exclaimed. "You're quite something, too. Are you an extraterrestrial?" Sorrel proudly stroked her silky coat. "I'm a brownie. Can't you see that?" "A what?" "A brownie," repeated Sorrel impatiently. "Typical. You humans may be able to tell a cat from a dog, but that's about all." "You look like a giant squirrel," said the boy, grinning. "Very funny," spat Sorrel. "What are you doing here anyway? A little titch like you isn't usually out and about on his own." The grin vanished from the boy's face as if Sorrel had wiped it away. "A thingamy-what's-it like you isn't usually out and about here either," he pointed out. "If you must know, I live here." "Here?" Sorrel looked around, raising an eyebrow. "Yes, here," the boy glared at her. "For now, anyway, but if you like," he added, looking at the dragon, "if you like, you can stay here for the time being."
"Thank you," said Firedrake. "That's extremely kind of you. What's your name?"
The boy awkwardly pushed his hair back from his forehead. "My name's Ben. What about you?"
"This," said the dragon, nuzzling Sorrel gently in the stomach, "is Sorrel, and I am Firedrake."
"Firedrake? That's a good name." Ben put out his hand tentatively to stroke the dragon's neck, as if he feared Firedrake would disappear the moment he was touched. Casting the boy a suspicious glance, Sorrel went over to the hatch and looked out. "Time to go and look for that rat," she said. "You, human, can you tell me where the Dockland warehouses are?" Ben nodded. "Less than 10 minutes' walk from here. But how are you going to get there without being captured or stuffed or put on display in a museum.
You can leave that to me, growled Sorrel. Firedrake put his head between the two of them, looking anxious. You mean it's dangerous for her? He asked the boy. Ben nodded. Of course. Well, looking the way she does, I bet she won't get 10 meters from here. The first little old lady to spot her will call the police. Police? Asked Firedrake, baffled. What kind of thing is police? I know what the police are, muttered Sorrel, but I have to reach those warehouses, so it's just too bad. She sat down and was about to let herself drop into the dirty canal water when Ben grasped her by the arm. I'll take you there, he said. I'll give you some of my clothes to wear, and then I can smuggle you past somehow. I've been living here a long time. I know all the back alleys. Would you really guide her? Asked Firedrake. How can we ever thank you? Ben turned red. Oh, it's nothing, really, he muttered. Sorrel was not looking so enthusiastic. Human clothes, she growled. Yuck! Dismal death caps. I shall stink of human beings for weeks. But she put the clothes on all the same. We got 4 chapters deep. They are paperbacks. I think you lose the magic on e-reader. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That like that doesn't really sound like a vibe. Do I have a bookmark? What can I use as a bookmark? I have this piece of cardboard. Yeah, fuck it. Okay. Boom. Improvised bookmark. I want to start streaming with like my face because like I want more social connection, I guess, like through the streaming. And like, yeah, when I first started this whole thing, I was very shy about myself and my personality, but like I've been having fun. And yeah, I feel like the more I stream and make content and TikToks and write poetry and just express myself creatively, I'm just like really coming out of my shell. So yeah, I'm gonna start researching the logistics of getting like a camera set up and stuff like that. I have no idea like timelines. Again, I've only been doing this since January. Like I'm very baby when it comes to like streaming. But like, yeah, you know, the cat's out of the bag. Y'all know I'm hot, and like I feel like it's more of a vibe if you can see me. And like we'll still use my avatar for gaming streams. We'll probably still use it for like if I do like long form YouTube videos and stuff like that. But yeah, you have a good vibe for streaming. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I cultivate them. Okay, well, thank you very, very, very much for popping into today's cozy little impromptu stream. Just be safe. Oh yeah, absolutely. Don't worry. I'm pretty paranoid. So and my mom is always like coaching me on like how to be safe on the internet. So yeah, it'll be okay. But thank you for your concern. And if you have any tips on how to stay safe, feel free to like fling them at me. Because like again, intelligent and dumb, and you never know which one is gonna be with me. So thank you for this stream. You're very welcome, Jenny. Thank you for popping in. Okay, I'm going to select a song. We were listening to the Autistic Urge to Know Why. One of the many out-of-pocket names I have for my fucking playlist. So yeah, we'll pick something off here for the outro. Okay. Bye-bye. Have a good rest of your day. And if you like this, let me know in the Discord and we can do this more often. Okay, bye.